So I've been curious about this one for quite a while. And was that you?
Sorry.
Was that a sneeze?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it was one big one.
That was a weird sounding sneeze.
I'm sorry, it was one big one. I tried to keep it in.
It's alright. No big deal. So I've been waiting to do this one for quite a while. It is the Legacy United Sandstorm, and I love the original. In fact, I was going to skip the original, and when I say the original, I mean the Generations. I don't mean the G1, though I guess I should have clarified that. The only reason I got the Generations back in the day, as stylized as it is because of two things. One, the recommendation of Starscream Wife. She saw it and said, he looks so cool. You have to have him. Two, I knew it used the magnificent Springer mold, which is one of the greatest molds that they've ever done. I mean, it is pretty much renowned for that. And now we have this one, which is certainly a different take, certainly a more traditional take. Is it truly leader class? Is it better than the Generations? We're going to do those comparisons. We're going to answer those questions in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton and lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. So, this was an iffy one. I have to give the caveat, and I'm going to say it right now. I absolutely did not like, at all, the Siege Astro Train. I'm not a fan of the mold. I didn't like it for Astro Train. I thought it was far too small, and it's not leader class. So maybe I could have forgiven some of it if I thought that the mold was a good fit for Astro Train, but I didn't feel like it was. I didn't like it, and I got rid of it. Then we had Blitzwing. I think Blitzwing is an awful, terrible, terrible mold. Really, really bad. I don't enjoy it. I know it's popular. I know a lot of people like it. It, again, absolutely not leader class. More than Voyager, but absolutely not leader class. And again, maybe I could have forgiven some of it if I thought the mold was good. The plane on that is abysmal and unforgivable. The tank is okay. I don't find the robot is as good as the Titan's Return. But that's just me. Again, I know it's popular. So there has not been a good track record of leader class triple changers. Is this guy going to fall in the same category, or is he going to turn the tide? Well, we're about to find out together when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And so the moment of truth has arrived, and we are going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy United Leader Class. Keep that in mind, Leader Class offering of Sandstorm. I've been very, very skeptical about this. Not as a good offering, but as Leader Class, because I have not at all remotely enjoyed Astro Train or Blitzwing. I got rid of both of them. I didn't enjoy the transformation. I thought they were wildly too small. I prefer the Titan's Return ones. And in this case, this has to go compared to the earlier Generations one, which is fantastic, based on the Springer mold. And that was a Voyager at the time that cost $30. This, taxes in, costs closer to $80 because it's leader class. And the question is this $50 better? We're going to find out together. But before we get into him, we have to look at this packaging. And you know what? The helicopter looks very nice. The car, Roadster, pardon me, that also looks nice. Neither of them exactly animation accurate, very toy accurate. Over here we have the robot and a close-up of the robot head, which does feed into the toy accuracy over animation accuracy, because that's a faceplate and stuff. That's very toy accurate. He had a face, right? The face of the Generations is actually probably closer to the animation. Nevertheless, that is a very toy accurate face. Over here we have our normal Legacy United artwork, and on the back we do have all three of the alt modes. They look great. I wish that we had animation accuracy here, and you know what? I won't be shocked if this ends up getting recolored and re-released in probably a multi-pack with probably a different head sculpt that does have a face that will make this, you guessed it, more animation accurate. Time will tell, but that's the box. Not for nothing, we have a giant two-sided sheet of instructions that's actually pretty darn effective for the most part. Things are bright, mostly clear. I didn't really have any issues following these. Our guy also comes with this little gray blaster. I think it looks really neat. It just, usually I plug it into his arm, but of course it can hold it in his hand. And this black blaster, no paint or anything. It's cast well enough, I guess. A little bit of hollowness that I wish wasn't there, but it's not bad. It's definitely very reminiscent of the blaster that Sandstorm should certainly have. And not for nothing, we're going to see it later. This is the cage. We have a bottom piece. The cage part is attached to it, can come off. And inside right now I have the winch attached, and I have the other little end of the winch, I guess, plugged in up here on his back. So you can kind of store this on his back if you're so inclined. As for his actual blaster, I could take that and plug it in over there. And then I tend to take this thing, and I just usually plug it on his arm. In robot mode, I'll have it facing down that way. In the other modes, I will turn it around and turn it up. But here we have him in his, of course, robot mode to start us off. Not for nothing. But here he is next to the Generations. Let me just move him over a little bit and move him over a little bit. You can see here the size comparison, very similar in size. As a matter of fact, this Voyager class, remember, clocks in at 187 grams of plastic, a gigantic Voyager. I always say Voyagers traditionally range between 145 and 165 grams of plastic, so we actually got more with Sandstorm here, probably because they didn't have to do a whole lot of remolding or anything, where they did borrow from Springer. However, the new leader class is only 197 grams of plastic. That's 10 grams in the difference. And somehow that equates to 50 bucks. Before people get on the bandwagon and say, yeah, but the new one has so much more engineering. I can guarantee you the new one does not have more engineering than this. Parts move everywhere on this. It has ratchets. It has it all. People might say, oh, well, yeah, there's more paint. Not really. The paint is quite comparable on both of them. They both have quite a bit. People might say, well, the old one has more hollowness. Again, not really. The old one is not a mold that's known to be plagued by any hollowness for the most part. I mean, a couple of spots here and there, but so does the new one. A couple of spots here and there. Here's the thing. Both of them are excellent. There's no doubt. And if we're going to talk about scores for looks, the Legacy United one, if you're going for toy accuracy, it's a 10. If you're going for animation accuracy, it's about a 5. So splitting the difference between 10 and 5 for cartoon accuracy, which is what I measure by, he's about a 7.5. If you, are into toy accuracy, then the United one is, yeah, 10. This guy, admittedly, is still only about a 5 for, maybe even less, maybe a 3 for animation accuracy. It is definitely a stylized version of Sandstorm. But I wanted to point out that, everybody always says to me, well, you can't talk about the mask, GotBot. That doesn't make any sense. It absolutely does, because they're giving you now, other than 10 grams in the difference, the same, pretty much, amount of product here as they gave you here for a much higher price point. That's a problem. That said, at 197 grams, I can't say that the new one is a Voyager either, because it's not. It's like Voyager Plus. This sort of feeds into the notion that I've been saying for the last few months, that we really, really, really are at a point where we need a price point somewhere between Voyager and Leader. Because the United lad here is more than a Voyager, but he's certainly much less than the 325 grams that a Leader class should be. Nevertheless, we're going to take this guy out of it. We'll see him in his other modes later. That's the caveat here. So, in terms of being a Leader class, no, it's not. It's not. You can pretend, you can lie to yourself all you want, but it's not. If you're going to get this guy, if you can wait, get him on sale. That's your best bet. I would be very leery of suggesting to you to buy this at full price. I can't do it with a good conscience because I respect you and your money more than I respect this product. Simple as that, right? I respect the consumer over the product. That said, Great start at a 7.5 or a 10, depending on how you measure it. Like input, I know is toy accurate, so he's gonna go 10. There's also this piece that was out of package. It just plugs into a hole right up here, and I guess it was done for being in the box or whatever. It just plugs in there quite easily. The peg is a little bit angled, so you might have to finagle it ever so slightly. Okay, let's do the articulation in this mode, because hey, why not? We have a head that it can go left and right a little bit, but it's very limited because of how it comes, kind of bars up into the back here. But it can move out and a little up and a little down. More limited head than I'd like, but I think you'll manage most of the poses you probably want. We have an arm that can go all the way around, out to the side. By the way, like, again, this is what I'm referring to as hollowness on this guy. That's what the Generations one has too. So yeah, out to the side. I guess a butterfly because of this connection here. We have a bicep swivel. We have an elbow over 90 degrees. We have a wrist rotation. Yeah, we do have a wrist rotation. And for some reason, he has a knuckle in the middle of his hand that, I guess it's supposed to be a finger, but it's like it sticks out too far or something. It's really weird. So put that down. Biggest problem with this guy. This just comes off. Like this doesn't, it frictions in. There's two rectangular pegs that are supposed to go into slots here, and there's a circular peg that's supposed to go into the chest, and it just doesn't really hold at all. Very, very loose, very wildly loose actually. Poor tolerance for something, again, that's supposed to be leader class. We do have a waist, not all the way, but I think it's going to give you everything that you could want. We have leg forward, we have a leg back, out to the sides. We have a thigh swivel built inside the thigh. I mean, if you needed to access it, you could unscrew this screw and this piece would come off, and then you could sand it down or something if you had to, or build it up, but that's where it's to. We have a knee to, say, 90 degrees. We have toe and heel forward and back, and we also have pretty deep ankle tilt for the most part. At leader class, now I would like to see articulated fingers, even if it's a base pin at the knuckle, and this whole chest should have been engineered way better than what it is to actually stay locked in. Really quite disappointed by the chest engineering, actually. Not that you can't work around it, you can hold his chest and whatnot, but like, again, man, for what you're paying for this stuff, like, you should not have to deal with those issues. I'm going to say, I wish the head had more mobility, I wish the waist could turn a little bit more, and I wish that we had articulated fingers for this price point. 7.5 for the articulation again. No, let's say an 8. So right now he's getting a 7.75. Let's get into the transformation, I guess. We'll go to his like car mode first, and then we'll go to his helicopter mode. And none of it's really that hard. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to remove that from the back and just lay them to the side for now. I'm going to come over to this arm, and I'm going to take this little blaster off, and I'm going to turn it around, because it'll kind of stay that way for both of the other modes. I'm going to, that's such a bummer. That's such an incredible bummer. It's just, it's not, it's like it goes in and like it wants to be tight, but it like pushes out on itself. It's not good, man. It's really not good, I gotta say. We come here and we open that out, fold in a hand, close it back up, and then we can kind of collapse the elbow. Like the elbows are, actually, I didn't even have this one extended. I'm sorry. Elbow over 90 degrees, if I didn't already say it. And the bicep swivel, because I think I still had the arms collapsed. My bad. The arms, though, they sort of just accordion in. And I think I had them left accordion in from when I was fiddling with them. My mistake. The arm opens, rotate in a hand, and now you have both of those arms up there. And you see that I'm really sort of struggling a bit with the chest here. The toes and heels come in and down. The toes and heels come in and down. You can collapse up both legs. They do say to put the legs together before collapsing them. That's up to you. Put the legs together. There. That's kind of the front end of the vehicle already done. Make sure I got the hips there sort of squared up. I'm going to pick the, I guess, body up here, so to speak. And then we're going to deal with this head section. Actually, we're going to open this up first, like a little spoiler there. And they're like ratcheted. I don't know why they would have ratcheted that. It's such a weird choice, but okay, whatever. I also find, though it doesn't tell you, I don't think, to do it in the instructions, this piece here I find needs to come down, or this is really not going to want to like stay on its wheels and stuff very well. And make sure I got all of that pushed together. Okay. Next we will bring that down. There, like that. Okay, so now we got to deal with this head section. And we're going to, this is a bit of a bear as well, I find. We're going to bring it up like that. We're going to fold the head back under like that, and then we're going to fold the whole thing down, and then there's two little peg holes there that go over this peg here and this circular peg here. So we're going to bring that down, and it should peg on over. Now, I do find that they do like to be a bit of a nuisance sometimes and not peg nice and cleanly. Then we should be able to take this whole chest piece, and there's two little orange rectangular tabs down under the windshield that should go into two rectangular slots on the legs as well. But again, I don't particularly find that it likes to do it. Not the best. Once we have that done, we can fold down this section behind the tire and this section behind the tire. And we're going to fold down the arms now. And using the orange tab in there, it goes into a slot here on the leg. So that whole section should come down. And that should be able to slot in behind the leg. I got everything coming untabbed here, by the way. That's a problem with this transformation. I don't find things like to stay tabbed until you get pretty much to the very end. But other than having to add the extra pieces on, which we'll do in a second, this is pretty much Boom, the Sandstorm in his car mode. Now I got to go back and retab a bunch of things here, but then I'll show you how the accessories go on him as well. Okay, and the last step that I forgot is push the rotors up. That'll give you enough clearance for this guy to roll. Now, that being said, let's put his other kind of bits and pieces on him. Because this looks a little weird to me. Like back here looks unfinished, and indeed I guess it sort of is, because we should really take the winch and it kind of goes in that hole in the center. Then using these little slots on the side and positioning the higher piece toward the back, we should be able to slot the third set of tines, I suppose, in there to, I'm not pushing it down all the way because I don't want it to get like locked into place, but you can push it down all the way if you're so inclined. Right there. This goes in the hole on the top, and then the panel here, while there's a hole here and it can go over this black piece down here, I find if I kind of just wedge it in so that the two little rectangular pieces are into the slots on either side, I find that that's usually good enough to keep this in place, up and underneath most of the time. Yeah, there, like that, right? And this rolls just fine. It's pretty darn good. A little bit of a chore to get there because I do find I need to really kind of give everything a final squeeze to get this back piece lined up with this front piece so that all 4 tires are on the ground. A lot of times when I try to do that, I pop the 2 pegs right here in the legs. So I kind of got to squeeze from the front and squeeze from the back. But it's not a deal breaker per se. Just out of interest sake, here he is compared to, that's right, here he is next to the Generations one, which also rolls very nicely. Now, the 2 different size wheels, that's kind of animation accurate. Though, to be fair, the difference in the wheel sizes was not this great on the animation. This over here, again, very toy accurate. Not really at all animation accurate. To be animation accurate, there should be no black windows. All of that dome should be orange. These side pieces, along with the feet and stuff, should all be orange. We shouldn't have any yellow here or silver here. The cage shouldn't so much be over the back as over like the top and back. So, like I said, again, very toy accurate, a little less animation accurate. The transformations to get here. This one's pretty good. These should go pushed in, but I find that they stick on mine, so I've never pushed them in. I've just put them down on the side. This one here, quite clean, other than I got to give that squeeze at the end. So both transformations, very good. I'm not going to give a transformation score yet because we do have to go to helicopter mode last. So, and this isn't really a helicopter mode, but we will see this mode as well when we get there. But for now, I don't know which version of like his car, roadster, dune buggy, I don't know what you call this mode, do you prefer? Okay, so far we have comparable robots. Do you like toy accuracy? Do you like stylization? Neither one is exactly animation accurate. We have comparable car modes. Again, what is it that you prefer? So let's take the that off, and we're going to take the cage section off, and down here we're going to come down and we're even going to pop out that section down there as well. I'm going to lay all of this off for now to the side. I suppose if you want, I'll point this out. It should be pretty straightforward though. You can now put the cage piece like back together if you're so inclined, and we'll deal with the winch and stuff in just a little bit, but you can do that much for now. Okay, so we're going to lay that aside. Now, where is it I want to begin to do this? Let's start by unpegging the arms there first, and we're going to lift this whole section up for now. I'm also going to fold this whole piece in so that we have a little peg hole here. I think that's probably for a flight stand. But for now, I'm just going to leave all of this sort of loose, and yeah, we'll just call that good. Then we're going to bring these up on the side, and I like to bring them out because I did find doing the tires to be a little bit of a, I don't want to say beer, I don't want to say a chore either, but they're not the easiest thing in the world if you don't know what you're doing. So, this one we just pick up like this, and we just took it out of its little peg hole, and it can fold in just like that. This one over here, we pick out of the peg hole, and it really needs to kind of rotate up, and then it faces out to the side. And it's important that you make sure that when you rotate this up, that you don't just flip it up, that you actually rotate it up, because it needs to be close enough in that when you fold it in, it's not going to kind of hang down too far underneath the helicopter and sort of ruin the mystique. So what I did there, I just opened this one out to the side. At the lower hinge, I guess, I'd done a semicircle motion up, and then I picked this tire off to the side, and then I fold both of these panels in. Dandy. That's really kind of the lower body of this guy now done in terms of dealing with this. We're going to leave the arms and stuff all sort of loose for now. Though, I guess I'll explain now. We have a rectangular slot right here and another one on the side. They're going to go into, or they're going to take the little rectangular black tab on the arm here. I'm just not going to do it yet till we get kind of the upper body kind of sort of done. We're going to take the winch piece off of there for now, and we have to deal with the head. And this is why I'm not putting the body in yet, because we do have to deal with the way the head transforms. So we bring that out, and we bring this piece up, And then we have to collapse this whole thing down, and it needs to be collapsed down all the way and then go in. So this is the angle you need it. The whole thing has to be collapsed all the way down. Once that's collapsed all the way down, then you can sort of bring this in, and now you can tab these in on the side, if I'm not mistaken. I do find trying to line that up for me to be a little bit of a chore with my old man eyes. There, like that. Okay, now comes the really interesting part. We're going to open this out, and we're going to pick these up. We pull these out, and we separate them from here. I do like that these rotors all slot in here and stay in there so they're not falling around in like the robot mode or the roadster mode or whatever. We can fold down these two pieces from behind the tires. We can fold these out, and we can lift this piece up. I'm going to rotate these around 180, so they rotate around 180, and then these two pieces should be able to come down and around, and they will go together. Beautiful. This piece comes back here, and the rotors come up through the center, and then this piece also comes up through the center to go over right here. We can close this in and push all of that down, and then we can open the rotors here out all the way as they should. Right, they rotate just beautifully. We already have this blaster over here. We can take his other blaster and put it in on, say, this side if you're so inclined. And then if we come down underneath, way up in right here is where we can put the winch, if you didn't already have it put there. I should have probably had to put it in there before I finished the transformation, to be honest with you. Oh no, it worked just fine. You can extend, sure, all of that's done. You can extend the little winch piece, I guess, as much as you want, and you can stick that into the hole on the top of the crate, and you can pick it up. But basically, I guess to be able to lay this guy down, straighten those up. Basically, boom, in the end, here we have Sandstorm in its helicopter mode. And again, what do you prefer? A more proper helicopter, admittedly, again, very toy accurate, not as much cartoon accurate. I popped that. But very, very, very quintessentially Sandstorm. I don't think I got back here all tabbed in perfectly either, but close enough for our purposes here. Or do you like the more modern, more stylized VTOL? A lot of people, when they got the generation, said, why did they do this as a VTOL? Why didn't you just do it as a helicopter? And I don't know the answer to that any more than you. I always liked this guy, but I understood how wildly stylized he is. It didn't bother me so much because I didn't think he was that important of a character. The more I've gone back and watched the show over the years, the more I've been like, I wish this guy was a little more proper. The transformation for the Legacy United one, honestly, it's quite smooth. It's pretty easy for the most part. I'm going to give it a solid 9. He was getting a 7.75. I think the transformation's a 9. Overall, this guy's like a 8.5. This guy, however, is also about an 8.5 for different reasons. There isn't a clear winner here. They're both really well done. The difference being, this was a Voyager and a Voyager price point, and this is considered a leader nowadays and a leader class price point. As a consumer, you deserve better. I think this is more, like I said, than a Voyager, but it's less than a leader. We need a price point in between. I can't say one is better than the other because that's not true. They're both really tremendous offerings of a character that's probably not one that you would expect to have tremendous offerings of, because he's not like a main core character. This is what I very much call a very soft recommend from me, because I think it's very overpriced for what it is. But I also think of the triple changers that they've done, he is the absolute best. Blows away Blitzwing, blows away Astro Train. Take that for what you will. But at the end of the day, this guy has an overall score of about 8.5. If you're a toy accurate person, then his overall score is more like a 9.5. And here we are, and here he is once again. So, super duper toy accurate for sure from the G1. Absolutely agree with that. It is not animation accurate, though I wouldn't be the least bit shocked if we end up seeing this mold released again in some sort of a subline or a multi-pack or something with a different face sculpt. And he actually has a face instead of a mask, and instead of all this orange stuff, it being yellow. Starscream wife saw both of them, and she still prefers the Generations. She said, like, this one's good, it's fine, it definitely looks more the shape and whatnot, but there's too much orange if you're going by animation accuracy. Some of that should be a little more yellowy, I would agree. If you're going for toy accuracy, it's pretty much perfect and spot on. But she said even though the Generations is stylized, it's still magnificent. Here's the thing. With this one, unlike my feelings toward Blitzwing and Astro Train, I think the transformation here is very enjoyable, very intuitive, and creative. I love how the back comes down and the simplicity of not only these pieces turning, but how the 4 rotors go through the center of the back. The back has a couple of little flaps. I love that we have the neat little sliders again. It's been a while since we've had it. I'm not a huge fan generally of sliders, but I do like to see it rather than the old, Combiner Warsing the leg, though that's great too. But it's nice to see a slider for a bit of a change, you know? I do wish that the chest stayed tabbed in better than it does. Mine likes to come off, and that's a real bummer for a leader class, if you ask me. No real hollowness, but to be fair, the Generations one doesn't really have any hollowness either. This is quite good, and that is quite good, right? This is excellent, that is excellent, and I understand the pull here to have something that is a little more, I guess, accurate to the traditional alt modes and stuff. You got to be okay with this being toy accurate, though, because it's not animation accurate. Then we get to the mass. This is only 10 grams more, even with all of this on, only 10 grams more than the Voyager class one. I don't at all see this as a leader class. It's just not. It's not 325 grams of plastic. I don't know how expensive it is to add a piece of string, I guess, if you I don't know what that adds. But that said, I would also say this is more than a Voyager. You see, I have, for example, criticized something like the 86 Hot Rod, because that thing with all of its stuff included is still only 77 grams. It's not even really a deluxe. So that's why I say we gave up too much there. Here, we're definitely giving up too much mass, as we did with Astro Train and as we did with Blitzwing. But where I found neither of those to be very well done, and where I found neither of those to be engineered enjoyably, I do find this to be engineered enjoyably. So what would I say as a final assessment here? This is excellent, but you should 150% wait for it to go on sale. It's more than a Voyager, but it's much, much less than a leader. If anything, this is a perfect example of something that I've been saying now for a few months. We really need to have a new price point in between Voyager and leader. Probably even retire leader class and do Voyager, Voyager Plus, and then make the jump to Commander class maybe. I don't know. I'm not the one to make those choices. But for you and your buying dollar, this is excellent, but I would definitely wait for a sale. Make of that what you will. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, please hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget, man, not for a moment, not for 1 second, that you right there somehow, some way, each and every single day, you make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.